Opelika, Florida. We were traveling. I know Ernie Ladd was with me because we were in the back of a van going home that night. But Lester Welch, I came in from the match, and Lester said, "Jim, can I talk to you for a minute?" And Lester had known me since I was a kid. And he says, you got a good background. You're a good wrestler. He says, but you don't have any color. You have the same tights. It's kind of a drab type sports, Adidas, Nike, for the sake of not mentioning names of companies. But
had the porn mustache.
Had the porn mustache, yeah. And there wasn't. He was in essence telling me that I just had nothing that anybody would really want to pay to see.
Right.
I mean, yes, I was a good wrestler, but that don't sell tickets. At least, not in my case. He says you need a gimmick. You need some color. You need something that people want to see. And of course, that just was like, oh my God, he's exactly right. I had to take a look, and I said, he's right. And then all the way home, I'm thinking. And then, do you want me to go on with what happened?
Sure,
there?
go ahead.
So, over the next few weeks, I was thinking, okay, what am I going to do? Because I wasn't a real gimmick person anyway.
Right.
Believe it or not. I mean, I went from not being a gimmick person to being relatively pretty gimmick person, to a degree. And I said, okay, Gorgeous George came to my mind. Bobby Shane came to my mind. Gorgeous George, of course, first because he had the valet that used to use the big bug sprayer.
Atomizer, yeah.
Yeah, and then he would come to the ring and throw bobby pins, and they played like a pomp and circumstance type song.
Right.
And this is back in the 50s, I think,
Oh, so far ahead of his time, it's frightening.
Yeah, it was just incredible. But he was a great wrestler, a great tactician. But man, what a gimmick. I mean, he had the robes and the bobby pins and the curlers. And I guess when you think back in the 50s, if a guy had curly hair with bobby pins, that's enough heat right there to get your butt whipped, right?
Oh, he was the first guy to bleach his hair. How much peroxide has Gorgeous George sold over the last 50 years?
He's the reason, people bleach their hair still to this day. I don't know. But I said, okay, I'm on it. I started feeling like I was on the right track. I was thinking of Bobby Shane. I said, okay, Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. That's the gimmick. Okay, Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. I had relatively long hair, not really at the time, but kind of. I said, that's not a big deal. So I said, I got to get some robes. So I didn't have a lot of money because, God bless him, but Eddie Graham wasn't exactly, the greatest payoff guy in the world, So I didn't have a lot. Plus, I wasn't on top, I was just like first, second, third match. First, second, third, middle of the road sometimes. So I said, how can I do this? Because I don't have much money. So I thought, okay, I'll tuxedo jackets, because the old, the tuxedo rental places, when they would rent one and it would get a stain on it, like a white one, they couldn't get it out. Basically it'd be useless to them. So I thought I can get that tuxedo jacket relatively inexpensive, and then I'll get my mother-in-law, which eventually did a lot of my stuff, but at the time, it was one of the wrestlers' wives, and I don't know if it was Pedro Godoy. I don't think it was that. It may have been, but one of the wrestlers' wives, that maybe his name had come to me, Raul Mata, maybe it was his wife. I got her to sew sequins, and it was a gold sequin jacket that I still have, to sew sequins on this tuxedo jacket. So it kept my expense down. So I said, okay, that's the glitter part. Then I says, okay, I need a valet. Well, I had some contacts in Tampa, and Eddie Graham knew somebody, and anyway, I got this valet, and I said,
the original Precious,
which is the original Precious, and I said, okay, and then I can't use the bug sprayer, so I use aerosol can. So okay, I got the flashy coat, I got the idea in my head about this Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin character. I got the valet because there was really none in the world. I think there was one floating around down south in Mobile, but they weren't national, and I can't remember his name. They were from England.
There was Adrian Street, Miss Linda.
That's who I'm thinking about.
There was Jack Dalton's wife, used to manage him and Buddy Colt back in the 60s or early 70s.
Nothing that ever bloomed. Nothing happened. It was just like the seed never really came up out of the ground on that. So that wasn't the issue. So then I said, okay, I took the publicity pictures. I went to the office and I threw my stuff down on the table and I said, here's the deal. This is what I want to do. And they said, okay, Dusty at the time was the booker. He said, Lakeland, Florida. That's where you start it. I said, okay. So I went up to Lakeland ahead of time, and I got with the building. They knew me because I'd been going up there since, for years. And I said, when it comes time for my match, I want you to dim the lights, a spotlight, give them a few dollars. They're all union guys. Give me a spotlight, and then I want you to play this Don Henley, Dirty Laundry. Nobody was really using music at the time.
Right.
If any, I don't think, Michael Hayes and the Freebirds did later, but I don't even think, or if they did, they were doing it almost at the same time that I started. They started. It was maybe
I hate to break it to you, but it's probably Leroy Brown.
Leroy Brown, did he do it too?
Yeah, he was doing Bad Leroy Brown.
Okay, that's okay. You don't. I'm glad. See, like I said, you know more about my stuff than I do, but there wasn't a lot of it.
But I'm not getting in the middle between you and Michael. You guys can keep having that debate.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, that's the song, and then I got the lighting. So anyway, it came time. The bell rang, the lights went down, the spotlight went on. Out comes a beautiful girl. Don Henley singing "Dirty Laundry." I all of a sudden started strutting. I don't know where that came from. It just the moment, which stuck for the entire rest of
the Fargo strut, which you
it was better than Fargo strut.
It was better than the Fargo strut.
Fargo did kind of a thing like it was a real deliberate kind of the Steve Kern and them used to do it.
Right.
Mine was much better, but anyway, that's another story. So anyway, I started doing the real strut, and that's when my career took off.